bienvenidos to Pica Poco Kitchen. Today we're making pan de muerto, bread of the dead. Vámonos! Bread of the dead has its origins in ancient rituals that the Mesoamerican civilization did when they would do offerings for their gods with human sacrifices in the shape of bones or hearts covered in amaranth. Of course, throughout the years and with syncretism, this tradition has transform yet prevail, starting with the shape of the bread, which symbolizes the life and death cycle. We also have top pieces that represent the head and the legs and arms. They also represent the cardinal points. They make a nod to the gods Quetzalcoatl, Tlaloc, Tezcatlipoca, and Xipetotec. And if I remember well, they also represent earth, wind, and fire, and water. You see what I did there? Bread of the Dead is an indicator that the beautiful celebration of Day of the Dead has started. And if you're lucky, your panadero may bring them out as soon as September. So, let me show you how they're made. From your total of 500 grams of flour, set aside 2 tablespoons in a little bowl. We're gonna make our pre-ferment. To that small amount of flour, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of sugar and 7 grams of yeast, which would be the content of one of those little packets. You're also gonna add 80 ml of warm milk. Put your milk in the stove and heat it up. Turn it off as soon as you see some steam. Don't let it get to a simmer. Now let the yeast and the sugar do its thing. You're gonna let it sit between 15 to 20 minutes. It depends on the temperature of the place you're in. But you're gonna know it's ready once you see a lot of bubbles on top. Now get your orange and wash it up. We're gonna use it and also use the zest. So set those aside. To the remaining of our flour, we're gonna incorporate the 8 grams of salt. Mix it up and you wanna do a well right in the middle of your bowl. Now that it's nice and spongy, add your pre-ferment. We're also going to start adding all the rest of the liquid ingredients. 3 eggs, beat them up, and add to the mixture. Now add your orange juice. An orange may vary between 60 ml to 80 ml in juice, so in between those numbers, everything's okay. Don't forget your zest. Both the juice and the zest are gonna bring flavor to your dough. To increase the sweetness of my dough, I like to add 70 grams of cajeta. Cajeta is goat milk's caramel. If you can find it, you can substitute it for dulce de leche or sweet condensed milk. The 3 of them have the same effect. They create soft and moist dough because of their high content in sugar and fats. If you don't want to do any of that, you can just add 70 extra grams of sugar. Start by mixing your liquid ingredients with your whisk. Slowly start adding the flour around it. Use a spatula in the beginning, and once you feel comfortable, start working the dough with your hands. Once the dough starts taking shape, you can dump all of it in your working surface. Knead and fold your dough until it has a uniform texture. It doesn't stick to your hands or to your working area. If you get tired or annoyed, you can take rests. Cover your dough and then come back 5 or 10 minutes later and keep working it. Without stopping, it took me around 30 minutes to have it all uniform and pliable. Once it's nice and soft, that means that your gluten has developed. Now, bring your bowl back and you're gonna put your dough in because we have to incorporate the butter. Incorporating the butter means that your working dough it's gonna get messy before it gets better, but be patient.
A few tablespoons at a time, you're going to incorporate 180 grams of butter to your dough. It's going to get shaggy and slippery. That's why I recommend doing this inside the bowl. That will keep your surface cleaner for when it's time to work your dough back in the table. So try to add as much as you can inside the bowl, and then you can continue working your dough on your working area. Once all your butter is incorporated, you will notice how your dough will become smoother and less greasy to the touch. You will be also able to stretch it without breaking it. Now it's time for your dough to double in size. So grease up a bowl, grease your dough too, put it in, cover it up, and let it rest. Mine took around 45 minutes, but it will depend on the temperature of your house. So come and check it out after 45 minutes and see if you need more time. Now punch the air out of your dough and it's time to divide it. Here is up to you. You could make two big breads or even one ginormous one, even 8 individual pieces. I decided to make 4 medium-sized ones. So what I'm gonna do is make some sort of a ball and divide it in 4 parts first. I like to shape my dough into balls because I find it a little bit easier to cut it, even though my portions are never the same size. But it doesn't matter. And of course, you can always weigh your dough to get your exact pieces. Now that I have my 4 pieces, I'm gonna take 1/4 of each of them. That fourth is going to be the head and the bones for each one of them. Why do I do it this way? I really don't know. I just find it easier to divide my dough once it's divided than divided from the beginning. I don't know if that even makes sense, but that's how it works for me. It might work for you too. Now I'm going to take my 4 main pieces and put them in my tray where they're going to rest while I work with the little pieces. The head and bones always have a different texture. To achieve that, I'm gonna add a little bit of flour to each of them. So I'm gonna take some flour and make a log with each of these little pieces and then divide it in 3. One of the pieces, I'm gonna roll it into a little ball and that's gonna be the head. The other 2 pieces, I'm gonna roll them into little tubes and those are going to be the arms and the legs. I will continue with all of the other ones. Don't forget to add flour each time. You will notice the difference of texture between the bread and the main pieces. And for some reason, the head was always my favorite piece. To shape the arms and legs, take one of the little logs, fan open your fingers, and roll it back and forward with some pressure. You will notice how in between your fingers you'll get some little bumps. You can stretch it out a little bit if you need it. Do the same with the other long piece, and then we will be ready to place it on top of our bread. Because our dough is so smooth and buttery, you don't need anything for the top pieces to stick to the main part. Put your legs and arms across from each other in the shape of a cross and push the middle just a little bit. And of course, don't forget the head. Now repeat the same process for all of your remaining breads. Cover your bread and let it double in size once again. And here they are. They're gonna continue growing inside the oven. So it shouldn't be good to crowd them like I did. So I decided to move them into two trays. So if you're gonna do four, from the beginning, start with two trays. Your oven must be 350 and you're gonna bake them from 15 to 20 minutes. Mine took 18 minutes to be done. And here you have them nice and golden. You're gonna let them cool for about 5 to 10 minutes. And as it may occur, sometimes the pieces move a little bit, like mine, who lost his head a little. But that's okay by me. And now we're gonna pour some sugar on them. Melt some butter and with the help of a brush, bathe your breads. Cover every nook and cranny so the sugar takes in. Do one at a time because the butter absorbs quickly. So if you butter them all at the same time, by the time you get to the second one, the sugar won't stick. And of course, you can sprinkle them with other flavors like cinnamon. You could even do some chocolate ganache and bake them. Or if you want to keep it simple, just do the sugar and then cut them in half and add some cream or cream cheese and jelly or I don't know, whatever your heart desires in it. This is really almost a white canvas for your imagination.
And they are ready. This is the most popular version from the Valley of Mexico, but there are other styles in other states which are equally good. And you can serve it as is, put it in your ofrenda, maybe slice it, serve it with some coffee or hot cocoa, but most importantly, share it with your friends. Just like this video, like, subscribe, and be notified. And for more, follow me on the socials. Adios, amigues.